Well, hello there, flight simmers. One question I got asked a lot lately is how do I set up my controls to fly with helicopters in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. Here you can see the controls that I found most essential and that differs most from fixed-wing aircrafts. First of all, the cyclic control, essentially your joystick, what rolls the helicopter left, right, and pitches it forward or backwards, and also the trim for the pitch axis, so that you can release some of your tension on the joystick, especially in forward flight, so you don't have to push it forward all the time with that much power. You can take some of the tensions off with these two buttons. And the collective, the one you pull for the helicopter to go up and push down to make the helicopter go down. As for me at least, and I guess most of you guys also, we don't have a separate collective control. I use the throttle for this, and that works okay. And so the collective axis is the collective up down, and the throttle axis is the throttle, the increase or a decrease in the throttle itself. For the Airbus H125, it has a throttle twist grip, so instead of like an axis where you gently increase the throttle, it just goes from idle to flight. For the anti-torque or the rudder pedals, it's the tail rotor axis, and also as some of the helicopters have wheels, we also need to assign a brake axis for the wheels. So they are these two, and also we have to toggle the parking brake and gear up and down for those helicopters that supports that one. For all your lights, I haven't made a separate thing out of that. I guess you are able to assign them to your buttons as you self choose. Okay, I have also made a little video for those of you that are uncertain to as how you actually set these controls up in the new control settings window. So if you choose to see that video starts now. For those of you that can fix this yourself, good luck and happy flying. So let's have a quick look, go into the settings page and the controls. So make sure it's a helicopter icon up here. Choose your stick, if it's called a Whirlpool or if it's called a TCA stick or just any other stick. It's the one that you use to control the left and right and forward and aft pitch of the helicopter. So go into flight control surfaces, primary control surfaces, and scroll down a bit. And what can be a bit confusing is that there are actually a few settings that does the same. So for the stick, I could have used aileron axis to roll to the left or roll to the right, and it will work just fine, but the term aileron is mostly used for fixed-wing aircraft. So for a helicopter, I have set it to set cyclic lateral axis. So it does the same as aileron, so choose what you like, but I prefer to have it set for the specific helicopter. So set cyclic lateral axis, click here and move your joystick to the left or the right, so that it's this axis that you set. And for a pitch forward and pitch backwards, I set it to set cyclic longitudinal axis. But once again, it's essentially the same as elevator axis. And for helicopters, there is another set of buttons you also need that controls the trim axis, or the trim for the pitch axis of the helicopter. For me, I have a so-called dead stick, so it stays in place where I push it. If I push it forward and just let go, it will stay there. So I don't use that those trim buttons that much. But if you have a self-centering joystick, as most joysticks are, then you would also have to go into choose your stick then, and go into flight control surfaces and control trimming surfaces, and set the decrease rotor longitudinal trim, and one for decrease and one for increase. So what that essentially does, it's if you are in forward flight, you push the decrease rotor longitudinal trim, push it for a decrease, and that will essentially pitch your helicopter forward, so you can release some of your forward pressure on your stick. And same for increase, it will pitch it up, so you, if you are in sort of a slow flight or anything, pitch it up a bit, and you don't have to have that much tension on your joystick. But for me, I have set it up, but I never actually use it, because as I said, my stick, if I push it forward and let go, it stays there, so I don't have to force it anywhere. It's just I control it only with my two fingers almost. But for most regular joysticks, they return to center, so that then these two are essential, so you don't have to have that much pressure all the time and get fatigue as you fly a long flight. For the collective, for me, and I guess a lot of people, we don't have a separate collective. If you do, it's great, and one day I hope to have it also. But for now, I use the throttle as a as a collective. So I choose my throttle, and I go back and into power management, and we start off with a collective. So the way my throttle works is that I have two axes. I have two throttles, one left and right. So I use my right throttle. And once again, it doesn't really matter if it's a Whirlpool or a TCA or even the Honeycomb Bravo, as long as you have at least two separate throttles. So for me, I use the right one, throttle number 2, for the collective axis. So once again, click here and move your throttle up and down, so it registers the right axis. And when I set this, I had to invert it, because when I have the throttle all the way back, the collective was all the way up, so the helicopter starting to to get up in the air and lost control. So if that happens to you, just push this little wheel here, set inverted axis, tick this box to on. That is off, this is on. So it's registered the right way of the axis. So that is the collective, and then we also need the throttle. So under power management, throttle, and this is actually quite independent of if you use the Airbus. then it has this twist throttle, so it's either idle or it's flight. But as I use the same control settings for example, the Robinson R66, I have also set this axis. So set helicopter throttle axis, and this one I then use for my left throttle, or throttle number 1. So push and move it so that it registers the right axis. And once again, if it's going the wrong way as you intend, then tick this box, set inverted axis, tick it off, tick it to on. But as I said, for the Airbus H125, it has this twist grip, and that you won't find in here. But if you go up to the search and just type in twists, then you see here throttle twist grip flight and throttle twist grip idle. So on my throttle I have actually some virtual buttons, so when I move my throttle all the way up, it triggers a button, and when I move it all the way back, it also triggers a button, even though it's essentially just an axis. So that is different from hardware to hardware, but if you have that, then you can use that button to toggle between the flight and the idle. If you don't have that, you can set another button. And what is also great is that you can, if you have a sort of a switch, on-off switch, then you can come here and set the same button, and you can go in here and set the 1 to release. So you use the same button, but once you toggle it off, then it releases and goes back to flight idle. So that is one option, or of course you can just use your PC mouse and just click on the throttle itself, and it's one click to make it go to flight, and it's another click to make it go to idle, and you essentially do that only when you are starting your flight or you end your flight, so it's not that big of a deal. And then of course we also need the rudder pedals, or the anti-torque pedals as it's called for helicopters. So for that I choose my rudder pedals, once again into flight control surfaces and primary control surfaces, and all the way down you will see tail rotor axis. So just click this, move your paddles left and right to get it to register. And again, if it moves the wrong way in the actual helicopter, then just click this set inverted axis to on. And some of the helicopters also have wheels, so then you also need toe brakes. So if you have rudder pedals with toe brakes, then you go into brakes and choose brakes, and then you can set the left brake axis and the right brake axis. So that was my helicopter controls settings. So I hope you got some out of it, and then just ask me questions in the comments if there's anything that was unclear or anything I left out. Okay, good luck and happy flying.